My name is Elena Moore. I am 27 years old. And for 3 years, every time I walked into a job interview, I was already guilty. Not because I had stolen anything, not because I had ever broken the law, but because my parents had decided I was easier to destroy than to love. I didn't know it at first. That's the cruelest part. At first, it just felt like bad luck. The first rejection email came 24 hours after what I thought was a perfect interview. Thank you for your time. After careful consideration, we've decided not to move forward. No explanation. No feedback. I told myself it was normal. Then the second one came, and the third, and the fourth. Different companies, different cities, same cold wording. I was qualified. Overqualified even. Top of my class in accounting. Clean record, strong references. Yet doors closed before they ever fully opened. By month 6, I stopped checking my email with hope. I checked it with dread. I still remember the first interview that felt off. The hiring manager, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, had smiled warmly at first. We talked numbers, experience, growth. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and everything changed. His shoulders stiffened. His smile vanished. "Elena," he said slowly, folding his hands. "There's something I need to clarify." My heart dropped. "Yes?" I asked. He hesitated, then said, "We received a call." "A call from who?" I asked. He didn't answer directly. "About your character." I laughed nervously. "My character?" He cleared his throat. "Specifically regarding financial trustworthiness." The room felt smaller. "What do you mean?" I whispered. He leaned back, uncomfortable. "We were warned, strongly." I felt my ears ring. Warned about what? He looked me straight in the eyes and said the word that would haunt me for years. Theft. I didn't cry in that office. I couldn't. I just sat there, frozen, while my entire future cracked quietly in half. "I've never stolen anything," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. He nodded. "I understand you'd say that." That sentence hurt more than an accusation. I walked out into the parking lot on shaking legs. I sat in my car, gripped the steering wheel, and screamed. Not loudly, silently, because I didn't know who to fight. When I confronted my parents that night, they looked calm. Too calm. My mother didn't even look surprised. My father sighed like I had inconvenienced him. "Why would someone say I'm a thief?" I demanded. My mother shrugged. "People talk." My father added, "If employers don't trust you, maybe that says something." I stared at them. "You told them, didn't you?" I whispered. My mother crossed her arms. "We told the truth." My blood went cold. "What truth?" I asked. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You stole money from us. You've always been greedy." I laughed. Then I realized she wasn't joking. The theft she was referring to? College tuition. Money my grandmother had legally put in my name. Money she had transferred directly to my account. Money my parents had tried and failed to control. When they couldn't access it, they called it stealing. And they decided to punish me. They didn't just warn one employer, they warned all of them. Every time my resume went out, so did their lies. They knew people. They made calls. They smiled while doing it. They destroyed my reputation quietly, efficiently, and they went to sleep every night believing they were right. I spiraled, bills piled up, savings vanished. I took temporary jobs, cash work, short contracts. Each time something permanent came close, it disappeared. Friends stopped asking how my job search was going. I stopped answering calls. I started believing the lie. Except one person never did. My grandmother. She was the only one who noticed I'd lost weight. The only one who saw the dark circles under my eyes. The only one who asked, "Why are you hurting so quietly?" When I finally broke down at her kitchen table, I told her everything. The interviews, the accusation, the word thief. She listened without interrupting. Then she reached across the table and held my hands, and said something that changed everything. "I know." I looked up. "What do you mean? You know?" Her eyes hardened, not with anger, but with clarity. "They tried this before," she said softly. My breath caught. "Before?" I asked. She nodded. "With your uncle, with your cousin, anyone they couldn't control." My chest tightened. "I've been preparing for this since the day you were born," she continued. I swallowed hard. "Preparing for what?" She leaned closer and whispered, "For the day they crossed the wrong line." Then she stood up, went to her bedroom, and came back holding a thick folder. Inside were documents, recordings, dates, names, and a plan. Not revenge fueled by rage, but revenge built on truth, patience, and timing. She looked at me and said, "They think you're alone. They think you're powerless. They are wrong." I didn't know it yet, but the lie that followed me everywhere was about to lead them straight into their own undoing. My grandmother didn't rush. That was the first lesson. People who lie, she told me, always move fast. People who tell the truth wait and let the liars hang themselves. We sat at her dining table late into the night, the folders spread open between us like a quiet confession. Inside were years of records, bank statements, emails, voicemails burned onto old CDs, handwritten notes with dates circled in red. This wasn't emotion. This was evidence. "You didn't steal from them," she said calmly. "They tried to steal from me." I looked at her, confused. She slid one document toward me, a copy of a power of attorney request, unsigned. "My signature was forged," she said. My stomach dropped. "They tried to take control of my accounts after your grandfather passed," she continued. "When I refused, they needed a villain." I felt sick. "So they chose me," I whispered. She nodded once. "You were young, talented, independent." She sighed. "Those things frighten insecure people." Suddenly, everything made sense. The sudden coldness when I got accepted into college. The tension when my grandmother paid my tuition directly. The way my parents smiled too tightly when I thanked her. They hadn't been angry about money. They'd been angry about losing control. My grandmother reached into the folder again and pulled out a small notebook. "These are names," she said. I flipped through the pages. Employers, recruiters, HR managers. Some had question marks beside them. Others had dates and short notes. "Spoke to father. Mother warned about theft. Advised against hiring." My hands started shaking. "They kept records?" I asked. She shook her head. "I did." I wanted to cry, to scream, but instead something else settled into my chest. Focus. Cold. Sharp. "We don't expose them yet," Grandma said, reading my thoughts. "We let them talk more." "How?" I asked. She smiled. And that smile terrified me, in the best way. The next week I applied for a job I knew I would get. Not because of luck, because Grandma knew the company's external auditor. Because she knew how to create a test. The position was mid-level accounting. Nothing flashy, but it required background verification. I got the interview within 2 days. Then we waited. 3 days later, Grandma's phone rang. She put it on speaker. "Mrs. Whitaker," a woman's voice said, "we just wanted to confirm some concerns." Grandma raised her eyebrows at me. "What concerns?" she asked sweetly. "We received a call warning us about Elena," the woman said. "From her parents." There it was, recorded, clear as day. "They accused her of theft," the woman continued. We wanted to understand your perspective. Grandma didn't miss a beat. My perspective, she said slowly, is that if you hire Elena, you'll be hiring the most ethical accountant you've ever met. Silence. Then Grandma added gently, and I'd be happy to provide documentation disproving any claim made against her. Another pause. I think that would be wise, the woman replied. When the call ended, Grandma pressed a button. The recording saved. My legs gave out. They walked right into it, I whispered. Grandma nodded. They always do. But she wasn't finished. Not even close. Over the next month, we repeated the process. Different companies, different recruiters, same pattern, same lie. Each time, Grandma logged it, recorded it, dated it, cross-referenced it with employment law. They're not just lying, she said one night. They're interfering. With what? I asked. She looked at me. With your livelihood. One afternoon, while sorting through old mail, Grandma found something else. A letter. Unopened. Addressed to me. From a firm I had applied to nearly 2 years earlier. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was an offer letter. Expired. They had wanted to hire me. They had sent it. But someone had called them before I ever received it. I sat down hard. They hadn't just ruined opportunities. They had erased them. That night, I confronted my parents again. Not to accuse, to listen. I recorded everything. You're exaggerating, my mother snapped. No one would refuse to hire you because of us. My father laughed. Employers don't call parents, he said. That would be ridiculous. I nodded. Right, I said quietly. And let them keep talking. They contradicted themselves within minutes. My mother bragged about warning people. My father claimed he'd only mentioned concerns. They couldn't keep the story straight. They never could. When I left, my mother called after me. You should be grateful, she said. We're protecting people from you. I didn't turn around, because if I had, she might have seen the truth in my eyes. By the end of that week, Grandma stacked the evidence neatly into a new folder. She labeled it with one word. The invitation didn't come by mail. It came by ego. That's how Grandma predicted it would happen. When people think they're winning, she said, they stop being careful. She was right. My mother called first. Her voice was unusually pleasant. Elena, she said, we need to talk. I almost laughed. Need had never entered their vocabulary before. This is about your future, my father added in the background. I put the phone on speaker and looked at Grandma. She gave a single nod. Okay, I said. Where? They chose a neutral place, a conference room at a small mediation office downtown. Professional, clean, safe. They thought it would be them versus me. They didn't know the room was already stacked against them. When we arrived, my parents were already seated. My mother wore her church voice. My father had his arms crossed like a man preparing to lecture a child. Then the door opened again, and my grandmother walked in. Their faces changed instantly. My mother stiffened. My father's jaw tightened. This isn't necessary, my father muttered. Grandma smiled politely. Oh, she said, it is. The mediator introduced himself, then the attorney, then the employment compliance officer, then the digital forensics consultant. With every introduction, my parents sank deeper into their chairs. My mother leaned toward me and whispered, "What is this?" I met her eyes for the first time in years without fear. "The truth," I said. The compliance officer spoke first. "We've received multiple reports of third-party interference in hiring decisions," she said calmly. "Your names came up repeatedly." My father laughed. "That's ridiculous." The forensics consultant tapped his laptop. "Would you like to hear the calls?" he asked. Silence. The first recording played. My mother's voice filled the room. I'm her mother. I'm warning you. She can't be trusted with money. My mother's face drained of color. The second recording played. My father's voice. We had issues with theft in the family. I'd hate for your company to suffer. My father stood up. This is out of context, he snapped. The mediator raised a hand. Please sit. Then the timestamps appeared on the screen. Dates, companies, patterns, not one call, not two, 17, across 3 years. My mother began to cry, not from guilt, from exposure. You don't understand, she said. We were trying to protect people. The attorney finally spoke. From what? He asked gently. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. The compliance officer leaned forward. These calls directly resulted in rescinded offers, she said. That qualifies as intentional economic harm. My father's voice shook. She's our daughter. That makes it worse, the officer replied. Then Grandma stood. The room went quiet. She placed one final document on the table. My funds were used as the justification for these claims, she said. So let's clarify ownership. She slid forward bank records, trust documents, signed statements. My parents stared. My mother whispered, that money was ours. Grandma didn't raise her voice. No, she said. It never was. The attorney turned to my parents. At this point, he said, we have grounds for civil action. My father looked at me, for the first time. Afraid. What do you want? He asked. The room waited. I stood up. Not shaking. Not crying. I want my name back, I said. I met their eyes. I want written retractions sent to every employer you contacted. My mother sobbed harder. And, I continued, I want you to stop speaking about me publicly or privately. Forever. The attorney nodded. That's reasonable. My father swallowed. And if we don't? He asked. The compliance officer answered. Then the court will decide damages. Grandma added quietly, and I promise you, I will not be merciful. They signed. Every page, every clause, hands shaking. The lies were undone in ink. As we stood to leave, my mother reached for me. I was just trying to keep you close, she whispered. I stepped back. You tried to keep me small, I said. There's a difference. Outside, the sun felt brighter, the air lighter, but it wasn't over yet. Not completely, because restoring my name was only the beginning. The letters went out on a Monday morning. Not emotional, not dramatic, precise. 17 envelopes, 17 companies. Each one contained a formal retraction, signed by my parents, notarized, and legally binding. Inside each envelope was a single sentence they could never take back. The statements previously made regarding Elena Moore were false and without evidence. No excuses, no explanations, just truth. By Wednesday, my phone started ringing. Unknown numbers, HR departments, hiring managers. People who had once looked at me with doubt now spoke carefully, apologetically. One of them said, "We owe you an explanation." I replied calmly, "No, you owe me a chance." The first offer came that Friday, then another, then another. But I didn't rush, because this time I chose. While my life began to open, my parents' world began to close. Quietly, church friends stopped calling. Family gatherings grew smaller. People noticed the shift. Because when someone is forced to retract lies publicly, the truth travels faster than the original rumor ever did. No one asked me what happened. They asked them. My parents tried to save face. They told people it was a misunderstanding, a family disagreement. But explanations sound hollow when paired with legal documents, and silence, when you're known for control, becomes suspicious. 3 months later, I started my new job, senior accounting associate. The office was glass and light and possibility.